So There'll Be Blood. Boy, that's one of the greatest examples of an alcoholic in his cups being an unlovely creature. I mean, there are so many great lines in that film that deal explicitly with, he's drinking the entire, he has got a drink in his hand the entire time, a bottle of booze the entire time. My favorite is, I've got a competition in me. I don't like it when others succeed, you know. That's a classic one. And then his quote unquote fake brother shows up and asks him kind of a personal question. And I don't like to explain myself, you know. It's just the very end of the film. I mean, it is just from start to finish. It is the classic portrait of an alcoholic in his cups, man. Ism fits in perfectly with all these other films, artfully crafted. I just didn't want to get into a thing where you do the films like Clean and Sober and talk more about how it was really imbued in really classic films. And also documentary on the Doors and Jim Morrison, and there's all this kind of stuff about how, he was in a car crash as a kid and the Indian souls jumped in. And you know what? The truth of the matter is, look, he's just a garden variety alcoholic, period. End of story. I mean, he's just difficult to diagnose as a clogged toilet to the plumber. Series on the Grateful Dead on Amazon. Oh, Jerry had all this pressure of the band and their livelihoods were dependent on him. He's just an alcoholic and an addict, I know a woman who was like an accountant for the, help part of the team. Who used to say if Jerry didn't have his heroin, he'd be in a crappy mood. Wouldn't be a good show. Make up all these things, all this stuff. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of that. Oh, it's because he was a tormented soul, and so on and so forth. When really, bottom line, no, he's just an alcoholic and a drug addict. Just the ism. That's all it is. It's not all this stuff. Mythology. It permeates the treatment culture. Money's involved. Even certain kind of alcoholic defined as the manic depressive. Sometimes their problem is just alcoholism. You can't make, a big book, a notebook, a highlighter, a pen. That's only costs so much versus how many psych meds a month. You know what I mean? It's just, there's a whole cottage industry associated with alcoholism and drug addiction, when sometimes the answer is much simpler and much cheaper, which I wouldn't be at liberty to discuss at the level of press, radio, and films. But these are great films in an artful way that deal with the subject in an indirect way. And that's, to me, always the most interesting.